What is a product or release burndown chart, and how is it used to monitor project progress? This is a type of questions that we will be answering in this video by making use of an example. Now, the product or release burndown chart is a visual tool to track the remaining work on a Scrum project. It shows the completed sprints against the remaining work, and the remaining work can be story points or effort in hours. And for this example, we will only be focusing on story points. Now, the product burndown chart, the x-axis, is your sprints or iterations, and the y-axis represents the remaining story points or effort. Now, where does the input data of the product burndown chart comes from? First of all, a product backlog is developed that contains all the work items or tasks that needs to be completed to produce a final product. Now, in order to create the work items or tasks in the product backlog, user stories are developed, which is a write-up of user requests. The user stories are then broken down into work items or tasks that can be delivered in one sprint, and the tasks are prioritized according to priority. Now, story points are then allocated to each task, and a story point is a unit of measurement used to establish the effort required to complete a task. A team can use a Fibonacci sequence to size a task relative to each other. The smaller the number, the less work is required to complete a task, and the higher the number, the more work is required to complete a task within a sprint. Then the velocity of a team is the amount of story points a team can complete in one sprint. Now, for the purpose of this discussion, the velocity of the team is 18 story points per sprint. Therefore, for each sprint, the team will be able to complete 18 story points. Now, for sprint 1, task 1, 2, and 3, total is 18 story points. So, task 1, 2, and 3 will go into the sprint or iteration backlog, and those tasks will be attended to in sprint 1. And after the sprint is completed, the completed story point is subtracted from the total story points and indicated on the product burndown chart. For sprint 2, task 4 and 5 is 18 story points that will go into the sprint or iteration backlog, and that will then feed into the product burndown chart, and the same will happen for the third sprint. You can also have a look at my videos regarding a sprint burndown chart and the product burn up chart. Now, the product backlog is dynamic and revised after each sprint. So work items, tasks, and features can be added, removed, or revised, and that will then also have an impact on the remaining story points. Furthermore, the team decides on the sprint duration for the project, and each sprint is usually between 1 or 4 weeks. Now, let's have a look at the example. So for this example, the sprint duration is 2 weeks. That's 10 working days. The total story points to complete the project is 360 story points. And the team velocity is 60 story points per sprint. Therefore, 360 divided by 60 is 6. So our planned completion is 6 sprints, which is a total of 60 working days. So our remaining story points, we'll start off with 60 as part of our planned burndown. Minus 360 minus 60 is 300 after sprint 1. Minus 60 is 240 after sprint 2. Minus 60 is 180 for sprint 3. Minus 60 is 120 for sprint 4. Minus 60 story points remaining after sprint 5, and then completing the project in after sprint 6. So that's our planned burndown. Now, after sprint 1, 75 story points were completed as part of sprint 1. So we'll start off with our 360 minus 75, and we've got remaining of 285 story points after sprint 1, which indicates that we are slightly ahead on our project. We can also add a trend line that will also indicate that we are ahead with our project. So for sprint 2, 75 points were also completed. 285 minus 75 is 210. So we're still ahead with our project. So during sprint 3, there were some complications. The team couldn't complete any story points. So we remained with 210 story points. And now suddenly the project is falling behind. Sprint 4, 60 story points were completed, so it's 210 minus 60, it's 150, so we're still behind on our project. For sprint 5, 75 story points were completed, so it's 150 minus 75, 75 story points remaining, we're still behind. After sprint 6, 30 story points were completed, so 75 minus 30, so we've got 45 story points still remaining. And then an additional sprint had to be added, where we've completed 45 story points, and we finished one sprint late. So that's 10 working days that the project completed late. I hope this video gives you a better understanding of the product Burndown chart. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, or you can subscribe to my channel for more project management related videos.